Now that we've got our model pretty well complete, we're going to go back and start tidying things up in order to create our sheets, our the blueprints or our construction documents. So we're going to start with the floor plan, and we've got a lot of stuff in here that we've done as we're building the model to get everything in the right place. So we need to hide some of it, we need to move some of it, we need to redo some of the dimensioning. So we'll start over here with our properties on our first floor level, and we're going to do 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, fairly typical for floor plans. Display mode, detail level, those are fine. Okay. On visibility graphics, let's come in here and let's turn off. Let's see how it works if we turn off our flooring. Let's see how that works. Okay. They're still there, just we don't see them. Okay. And if you have an underlay turned on, you want to turn that off. Okay. View range, if anything from your roof or your basement level is showing up, you may need to adjust your view range or the depth clipping, either one, that'd be fine. And so those things should be good there. Okay. As you're looking at my plan here, I've got text on my cabinets, and I added that after I got them put in, so you could see what size cabinets that you were going to put in. You don't have to put the text on your cabinets. Okay. All right. So let's zoom way out, and you see your elevation markers out here. Let's pull those in a little closer. We're not going to be able to see them in a little while anyway, but we want to adjust our let me back that up. Okay. And before we're finished, we're going to adjust our crop region. Okay. Now that just kind of undid some of the elevation things that we moved there, but we're going to adjust that before we actually go to a drawing sheet. Okay. All right. We need to clean up dimensions, and we've pretty much dimensioned the way the textbook has it. Okay. The way I was taught years ago is all walls that can go out, or excuse me, all dimensions that can go outside the building need to be outside the building. Okay. And the textbook does the first run of windows, but all the interior walls, they dimension on the interior. And it gets, to me, it gets more complicated in doing it that way. So basically, you can edit witness lines, you can move the things around. It seems to be easier just to delete the chain of dimensions and then redo it. So we got our overall dimension of 62. That should be locked. Okay. So now let's add a chain of dimensions, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit the major walls as we're going across. No, not yet. I haven't done anything. Okay, so we'll start face of core over here on the, before I start that, grid lines, we may or may not want them to show up in our drawing. Usually residential, you don't have grid lines. Okay, so in commercial drawings you do, but in residential usually you don't. Okay, so let's go to visibility graphics, go to annotation, and let's turn off the grids and see how that affects things. I'm just going to hit apply. The problem being is if you have dimension to a grid line, when you turn off the grid line, the grids disappear. So you saw some of my dimensions disappeared. So let's just cancel that, and I'll have to leave my grid lines there because I've got dimensions showing up. So it's okay. I mean, it's no big deal. Depending upon where you work, they're going to tell you exactly how it should be done. So, all right, so now we'll go back with a run of dimensions here. And I'm going to hit the major walls coming across here. And let's go back to face of core and pull that one outside here. All right, now while we're in here, let's go ahead and lock those. Okay. Now this chain of dimensions here, because we don't want things crossing each other. So honestly, you can move witness lines and things. I find it easier just to redo it. Okay, so as long as we don't move anything while we're doing it, as long as push unconstrained, remove constraints, unconstrained. Okay, because we're going to come right back in and hit the window to the wall to the door to the wall to the window to the window. And then go back to the wall. Okay. And now we can and lock all of those. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay. And so what we typically you'll have 3 rows of dimensions for exterior walls. The outermost one is your overall size. The second one would be major walls, okay? And the third one is going to be your doors and windows. And of course, they're going to hit on walls as they're going across. The this is the way that I was taught when I was, years ago learning architectural drafting. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we want to. Okay, I've got the 3 that I need out here. I just need to move them around a little bit. No, because see, I've got one that it crosses right there, so I'll have to redo this row of dimensions here. I don't want the door, I want the wall. Window, window. Okay, now as you're placing these in, let's pull them far enough out so that when we apply window tags, we can put our window tags outside here. So they need to be, you know, a fairly decent distance out, but then kind of spaced nicely. On paper, they would be, about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch apart. Okay, that's 3/8 of an inch apart or so. Okay, so you want to do that on all 4 sides, and then we can come back in and we can this long chain of dimensions across here. We can edit that one and take out these 2 pieces right here. And it may be easier just to totally redo that, I'll let you kind of see with that. Okay, some things like with the wall we put in here, we do need a distance from there to the end of the wall to the end of that. We'll need some dimensioning here, yes. Okay, over here on doors, because Uh, we've got this dimension here we've applied to our doors to keep them centered in the wall. But door locations that are centered in an opening or in a wall, that's normal. So we don't need a dimension for it. So we can hide that. Where's that? Hide in view element. Okay. And where we put the dimensions on these doors that are like 4 inches off, we can hide those because that's kind of a normal kind of a thing also. Or we can, we'll put a note in our specifications. Doors without dimensions are either centered in wall space or 4 inches from a adjacent wall or something. Um, so all of these doors that we've got dimensioned in here is equal or 4 inches or something. We can hide that. Okay. Um, Dimensions we put in for our bathtub, our toilet, we really don't need those. Okay. I mean, we need them to keep our toilet in the right place, but we don't need it on the drawing unless you have something special or specific that you need. Okay. Um, so basically, you're going to clean up all of your uh, all of your dimensions. Okay, so that you don't have anything duplicated. If it can be dimensioned outside the building, do it outside the building. Okay. And as we see here, for these windows, they're pulled all the way out here in chain. Same way right here. Okay, so we got that done. Um, well, I'm not done, but I've showed you what kind of what we're going to do. We want to apply some room names and tags. Okay, and when you'll have to do a room divider right across here to separate that, and then across here to separate the dining area from the kitchen. But we want to do room tags, and so ah, I guess I have to do the spaces first, eh? Create room. Well, it's okay. So you may have to do a room separator here. I mean, we can do bathrooms. But see here, it wants to pick up the whole thing. So, closets usually don't get tagged. Okay. So now we got to do a room separator. Let's do one there.